Welcome to the Recruiter Startup Podcast. My name's Dulta Doherty, and in this podcast series, I'll be talking to recruiters, investors, advisors, and entrepreneurs who are based all over the world, and we will be discussing how to set up, scale, and operate a world-class recruitment business. So I hope you're all having a wonderful Saturday. I just recorded a great podcast with our man DSP, David Stephen Patterson, who runs the Facebook recruitment group, Headhunters and Executive Recruiter Community, there, which he calls the HERC. And we discussed Facebook advertising for recruitment, a subject I don't have a clue about. And I know we're all hearing Gary V harp on about how it's underpriced attention. So I wanted to get the information out of somebody who knows it. So we went through what I could do if he was to run my Facebook ad. And also we kind of just had a general chat about it. So it's about a half an hour long. There's a lot of information in there, and I'm going to have to go and digest it and see if we can work it into our plan somehow. But as always, massive thanks to DSP. He's a wealth of knowledge and a great human being. DSP.
Hey, what's up, Dualta? How you doing, man?
How you going, brother?
I am doing fantastic. I'm my third cup of coffee this morning, so I am jacked.
Great.
Ready to rock. Yeah.
You probably need it. You getting any sleep at night? You got that newborn in the house?
You know, it's actually not too bad because I wake up at 4 a.m. Daily, and my fiance doesn't. So she sleeps in with the baby. So she actually gets up during the night, feeds her, all that kind of stuff. She lets me sleep at least until 4 when I wake up. So not too terrible.
Here we are, Saturday afternoon for me, morning for you, grinding away, hey?
Yeah, I woke up about today, slept until 5. So been a lazy day for me. Then I got up and worked. So there you go.
Have you got your workout in yet? Have you got the DSP body package in order?
The beach body, the beach booty package. No, not yet. That's later today. Right now I'm doing a squatting routine. So I'm squatting 3 times a week.
All right. So here's the crack. I brought you on because I'm going in a couple of different directions. So obviously I've got my Rec Direct business, and we focus on people moving abroad from the UK mainly, but a few others from Australia abroad and all the rest. And we move them all around the world. And they're quite specific. Usually they're under 30, they're degree qualified, and they're top performers at leading agencies or boutique agencies within certain time frames. So that's one thing. And I want to be able to use what Gary V's telling us all, Facebook ads. How can I get Facebook ads to help me get more candidates? And what does that look like from a process standpoint?
Gotcha. That's a broad question. So let me tackle that.
Let's start at the start.
Okay.
Sorry for verbal dumping on you there.
Well, yeah, that's okay. Well, really, man. Let me see if I can put this. So when it comes to Facebook ads, right? So when it comes to garnering attention, so I'm a big believer that just like Gary Vee says, attention is the ultimate currency, and it really is, right? And so what we have to do as recruiters, we take our client's job and we pretty it up and make it awesome, and then we go get the attention of candidates and put it on our client's job, and we get them interested. It's kind of what we do, right? But with Facebook advertising allows us to do that at scale and to not necessarily rely on a specific job, but to basically become known to them as the go-to recruiter. So let's say on the candidate side, when they have some sort of career wound or something happened with their job, they're not quite satisfied, they want to see what else is out there, you want your name to be synonymous with that and to be kind of a trusted authority. So when they're open or looking, they're willing to look to you, or when you call, they're willing to take the call. I've got clients that, they're really tight employment markets. They get calls from recruiters all the time. They just delete because they don't see the value in their recruiter. So for you, the way I look at it with Facebook ads, it's a great way to build out awareness on a platform where very few other recruiters are at. Because, LinkedIn, it's really easy to find recruiters like that on LinkedIn, but at the same time, we're also the biggest demographic on LinkedIn. So you look at somebody else, let's say like a CFO or a CO, they're getting hit up all the time from other recruiters on LinkedIn. And I have to imagine the recruiters that you want to work with, it's also a very busy platform and network. And so for me, the way I look at it is the Facebook news feed is kind of like virgin territory, where I can put my message in front of the prospects I want to do business with or the candidates I want to work with, where there's no other recruiters, there's a lot less white noise. And if I can put out some valuable content, I start getting known as the recruiter in the space, and I'm actually adding value to them instead of always leg humping, right?
Yeah.
Always, hey, can I get a resume? Hey, can I get a resume? Hey, do you want to meet? Hey, for this opportunity? Hey, how about this? How about that? Like CTAs everywhere. So that's what I think Facebook is really good for. It has its limitations, obviously, and we could talk about that, especially from like a targeting perspective. But from just a branding perspective, there's really nothing better.
Yeah.
It's like the eighth wonder of the world, I think, in my opinion.
All right. So it's easier just to talk about it from my own perspective. So
Sure.
It gives people, because there's a lot of people talking complexly about Facebook ads. So if we could just break this down simply. So I have a decent mailing list, which you could potentially use, and we may have LinkedIn Helper, which is good for building a mailing list. I think you use DuckSoup, which is quite simple, and I've got a ton of content from this podcast, and we're getting quite a lot of inquiries from the podcast as well, which is great. And I'm probably going to start getting into video and all the rest. I'm guessing I'm not selling a job as such on Facebook. What type of content works for me to attract the candidates, or at least get my brand in front of them? And
okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's what comes down to being relevant to your audience, right? So, for example, if I were to, if you don't know me from Adam, I'm just some random dude, rec to rec guy. I've never heard of you before, and I push content to you. You may or may not listen to the content if it's just informational. If I go on about my authority in the marketplace, or on about some process when I teach you or how I'm great, it's not really going to be relevant to you because I'm not speaking to your pain. I'm not speaking to anything that's really valuable that you find valuable. So for a lot of recruiters, and I know because I coach other recruiters, right? So I speak to their pain a lot. And I know one of the big pains for recruiters is the feast and famine roller coaster. It's a very common one. Not being respected in their market, or maybe working for a big firm, like for you specifically. Let's say they're working for a big name firm, and you want to attract them to maybe a smaller organization where they can make more of an impact. Maybe they're tired of feeling like a cog in the machine. So a big,
I suppose
part
that
of
would be some of it for us. I suppose the pain point that we would have is, you live in Florida, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
When you look out your window right now, what's the weather like?
Pretty damn good. It's actually pretty cold today. It's down. I think it might get down to about my high 60s.
Yeah, it's minus
That's pretty
2
chilly.
And we're living in perpetual darkness, right?
Yeah.
So for the winter months, and Brexit's about to happen. There's a bit of uncertainty happening. And I've lived abroad. I've lived in Canada, in America, in Australia, and we've worked in recruitment. So we kind of know what it's like and what the benefits are. So that's just to set the context as to maybe not the sausage, but the sizzle of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's all about the sizzle, at least initially. I mean, you make them stay with the sausage. That sounds really weird, but
you make them stay with the sausage, DSP.
It sounds kind of, yeah, that's what I do. That's how I make them stay.
Mrs. DSP must be a happy lady, eh?
She doesn't complain, at least not that I'm aware of. But anywho, where was I? So yeah, so you make them stay with the sausage. So yeah, but you get them with the sizzle, right? So for that, I'd imagine a lot of it's going to be lifestyle, right? So you want to almost in a way kind of so well, I guess maybe not your specific lifestyle, but the lifestyle of being
The
a
one that I used to
recruiter,
have before kids, right?
the way you used to have for kids. Yeah, the swinging dick around town, that kind of guy, right? So the that kind of lifestyle, but having that lifestyle
Many cups of
of
coffee have you
really
had?
I'm working on my third, about to
All
be on my
right.
fourth, so I'm jacked. But yeah, but the ability to live abroad, be able to make a lot of money, be almost location independent, depending upon what firm you work for, if you're independent, et cetera. For all the different lifestyle things that are really attractive. But you also want to focus on those pain and negative things, right? The perpetual darkness, the again being the big cog in the machine, or the
Yeah,
uncertainty,
saturated market. There's more
saturated
agencies in the
market.
UK than
Yeah,
anywhere else, you know.
yeah. So you all that, right? So for me, when I want to resonate with my audience, one of the very first things I would do is sit down and write up my content, right? So what are all the different pain points that your audience is feeling? And we've already listed them here. What are some of the illustrations of that, right? So imagine, okay, my ideal client, my ideal candidate rather, is what if I were describing the movie scene, right? It's the movie scene of, having to commute into work and perpetual darkness. I've got to warm up my car for an hour before I could even go to work just to get it started. All those different
Scraping the
things,
windshields and all that jazz.
scraping the windshield, being very descriptive, right? And I can write content that might describe that scenario, to get them to start thinking, hey, there might be a better way. There might be other opportunities for you. Also write some content which is more educational. Here's how to go about doing this. Here's what you need to do. Here's how to properly position your career to effectively position you correctly so you can be in line for those sorts of opportunities, or whatever that content might be, right? What I would do is probably develop 10 to 12 pieces like that, individual pieces with a good corresponding picture, and run those ads. From a targeting perspective, you've got to target them correctly, obviously, because targeting on Facebook is not very good, at least not for our purposes. It's very easy to target people who are interested in dogs, or or golf, but to target specifically recruiters in the UK working for big name firms, it's really hard. But if you have email addresses, now this is a gray area, by the way, because Facebook does not like this. But if you have let's just say this, wink, wink. If you have a list of customers you can upload, Facebook is fine with that, right? So as long as they're, wink, wink, customers, you can upload that list to Facebook and run ads to them. So the way I like to do it is I'm running content ads. I don't like to run CTAs, no headlines, anything like that. I just want to run a nice picture with a nice long form post article, maybe a couple videos, right? Usually about a 80% content to video ratio. And run that as,
Why do you have that ratio? I've heard that like videos are getting better responses. Like,
yeah, I used to think that too. I used to think that I was all about video, even up to maybe 6-8 months ago, and I still am to a certain degree. I think it's the future, but candidly, I just look at my numbers. I get better engagement on the long form posts. Bottom line,
okay,
because and I think part of it is because the way I track my engagement on Facebook. So
what's your
as a
demographic though?
so my demographic is typically, I go be a little older, so probably late 30s up to 40s, 50s, right
Ju-
around there. So for your video might
Judging
be
by some of
better.
the banter in your group, they're at least 1,000 years old.
Pretty damn ancient, which goes to show you, even old people are on Facebook, because all the young people that are on Instagram, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Facebook's for old folks. But whether you do, but again, you just look at your data. But I say for me, so if you're looking at like an average ad, right? So I run an ad that says, and I'm reading one right here. There's a picture of Jack Welch. So it's a very popular ad of mine. Picture of Jack Welch, and the initial line says, "Call me crazy, but I think turnover on your SAP team can be good." Jack Welch agrees. Sure, ask any HR consultant about the cost of turnover, and they'll tell you, but the true cost of turnover could be 2 to 3 times. And then dot dot dot, and this little button there that says more, right? And we see that in posts. We see there's even an organic post. You see the first few lines, and then if you want to read more, you click on the more button. So for me, I can tell, okay, when they click on that, I know they're engaging with it. And so when I look at those numbers, tend to see more engagement on the content posts than I do in the video. But I still get content in the video, so I do both. And yours may be different, but I like to measure my engagement that way so I can see if I run this to 1,000 people, and how many people are actually engaging with it. Because if they're engaging highly with it, I know that it's valuable content and it resonates with them, and they start to know who I am. Part of this is also just getting your name in front. Is the reason why I know you're very big about getting a lot of engagement on organic on LinkedIn. You're really good at it. The reason why, and even you might be a little bit controversial at times, is because you want your name to be synonymous with rec to rec, right? In that specific sector. Whether even if they don't know much about you, if they just simply know your name, there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's our whole process is based around that, and all we'll be doing is more of that. But I suppose just to go on that piece with the Facebook ads, when people are engaging with the post, are you able to then retarget them to get them into like the next level of a funnel?
Correct. Yeah. So there's a few different ways you can do that. So I'm going to use this example as if you do not have a lead magnet. If you did have a lead magnet, it'd be a little bit. I'd have a different structure.
Talk to me. What's a lead magnet when it's
so the lead magnet for the uninitiated, for the I think the two people who have never downloaded a lead magnet in their lives. Lead magnet is in essence like a PDF, a checklist, a short guide. Basically, hey, give me your name and your email address, and I'll send you something free of value. Unfortunately, the problem is, and I have a beef about lead magnets. Most lead magnets are shit, or shite, as you would say, but they're crap. they're because how many times for one, have you ever downloaded a lead magnet and it's big font, wide margins, it's just fluff for the next thing. There's nothing really value in there. And most times I see lead magnets, they're shit. And they're either templates for something else. There's an example I use sometimes, and this is not really a lead magnet per se, but it was a trainer had one of my clients do this and do a webinar showing some value to his industry. He works in robotics, and this trainer had him do this webinar where the advice he was giving was, hey, if you're looking to hire passive talent, have a business card, print "we're hiring" on the back of it, give to everybody you meet. Well, this guy recruits very high-end engineers in the robotics industry, and I doubt giving that card to every bartender and server that you see is going to get you a lot of top-level engineers. And it's just such a templated thing; it's not relevant. So that's why I'm not a big fan of lead magnets.
It's better having somebody from the bottom of the funnel rather than the top.
Yeah. Now, but that said, if you have a really meaty lead magnet, really that gives a lot of good value. From a retargeting perspective, to get them down to your funnel, one of my big strategies that I use in both my businesses is once they download that, I assume that they want my lead magnet, and I assume that a lot of them will not read it because they just don't get around to it. Maybe they do, they'll read part of it. It's still valuable, but they just don't get around to it. So what I do is I take that lead magnet, chunk it up into more ads, and I retarget those. I drip those ads out to them. So I'm just making sure they always see it, whether it's my email stream, lead magnet, through ads. But from what you were saying, if you did not have a lead magnet, it's really simple. If you have, let's say you have a couple of pieces of content, you can have this on LinkedIn and Facebook, really, but some content that really resonates toward pain, right? So for example, for my coaching clients, if I'm marketing to recruiters, I talk about the feast and famine. I've got a really good article talk about the feast and famine roller coaster. Anybody that clicks on that, engages on it, goes to the blog post on my site, right? I can pixel them, or I can basically tag them, and I can retarget them with content that's going to be more relevant, process related content. If I'm trying to show process related content to people that don't even recognize the pain, it's not going to be relevant. So I only want to target those people that, let's say, resonate with a particular piece of content that you have. Then you can retarget with the next content that brings them further along down that path that you need them to follow, right? you can't look at your marketing like a one size fits all. Just run this one ad and let's see who responds to it.
So
It's great when you sell blenders, but it's not very good when you're selling something that is like a real change to someone's life. So someone's going to particularly change jobs and locations to completely change the trajectory of their life, right? You can't get them to do that with just like a single ad.
sure, and that's what we call a funnel, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where does your funnel lead? Because I feel that recruiters don't want to go to a website when I'm dealing with them. They're happy to engage straight on social channels and
Mm-hmm.
move from social channels straight into a call, um, as opposed to going to a website. So this is where I kind of get a little lost. I'm in the process of
Okay.
talking to a web guy at the moment, but I'm just not sure. Is the traditional value to push them from Facebook to a website, or is there a way to shorten that funnel up?
Okay. Well, yeah, you don't need anybody to go to a website, but people do. I mean, and so everybody has different paths. The way they always describe it is in your funnel, you should always have a path straight to you. You should look at your funnel kind of like a greased slide where they start at the top and they go all the way down to the bottom. They're like, I don't know how I just got down here, but now I'm on the phone with DeWalta, right? But most people they take a longer path. They take more time. So you want to. So the way I look at it from a phone perspective, and this is where it gets kind of complicated, honestly, but it really does work. But like this, it's the best way to do it. Is in your content. Granted, you're not running a lot of CTAs, but you always provide them an opportunity at some point to book a call and then get directly on a call to discuss the career options. Um, Having said that, you don't want to talk to just anybody. I always recommend having them fill out some sort of questionnaire. You could do that within type form pretty easily. Answer maybe 4 or 5 quick questions just to make sure that you're not wasting their time and vice versa, right? So that's a great way just to get them on the line. But some people do want to go read a blog post. They want to go check out your site. They want to download the lead magnet. They want to watch a video. They want to watch or listen to like 17 podcasts in a row before they work up the courage to email you. So it's really kind of a hidden ROI. It's creating this big ecosystem of content, and whatever direction they go in, it's like a choose your own adventure novel.
Yeah.
They get to choose their own adventure within your system, and you just want to be able to create. And that's why repurposing content is so important, because that way you can take a one piece of content. You've got it over several platforms, so whatever works for them. So some people are going to be some are going to be website, Facebook, and LinkedIn. One of the strategies I employ a lot is I'll post something on LinkedIn, and now I can't target people if people engage on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, LinkedIn's ad platform is pretty clunky. I can't retarget them, but what I can do is I can post a pain related piece of content and have a link. Hey, if you want to read more, check out this blog post or this article. It brings them to my site, and now I can retarget them on Facebook because now they're pixeled, right? There's a little piece of code, almost like a cookie, and if they have a Facebook account, now they're pixeled on Facebook. Now I can retarget them on Facebook, and I've got them in my system. So whether that get them on whatever platform, I just want to tag them somehow, some way, so that way I'm always a presence in their lives. So as long as I've rolled out content, regardless of what platform, that's
Yeah.
the idea, right? And so it's not like a linear. It's not like a linear funnel. People they think like this. I think they want to put a linear funnel together. It's really ineffective in our
That's
business.
interesting. Now,
Really ineffective.
from an administration perspective, the steps to creating a Facebook advert, and I think it's pretty good to say that we're not in the business of selling jobs here. We're selling a brand. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah, we're selling. Well, even more. I always say we're in the business of transformation on both sides, right? Because for our candidates, it's easier to see how we sell transformation for our candidates because they take a new job and a new life, and we change the trajectory of their careers. But for our clients, the hiring managers that hire from us, the hire that we help them make could catapult their own career and gets them to where they want to be, or get them that next promotion. So I think we always have to look at it like we're transforming lives on both sides of the aisle. And I always look at my advertising through that lens, all my messaging through that lens. You can have to.
But so step by step to get to the point where we're doing it. So we've developed up a piece of content. Is it? Do we need to hire somebody to run these ads for us, or can we do this ourselves? Like what's the complexity level?
Gotcha. It's really not that complex. It looks complex when you first sign up for a business manager ad account on Facebook and you log into the ad manager and you're like, oh my God, this is like it's intimidating. But it's no worse than getting a new ATS system and having to learn that over the course of a few hours. It's not, once you understand the basics of it and the way it flows, it's not too terrible. But just from a mechanics perspective, I mean, if you let's say you had content. Let's say you had your audience, you've uploaded that list of your quote unquote wink wink customers, you've uploaded that audience, okay, and you want to run that ad to them. It's fairly simple. You take that content and you make sure it's readable, make sure lots of white space, make sure it's not like a block of text. Go find a good picture online. You can buy them through Shutterstock. You can find free pictures on Unsplash or any number of sites that are royalty free. Yeah, or do video. Yeah, so I'm talking content, but if you do a video, that's fine too. I'll kind of describe both. If it's video, it's really important that you please, you can use an iPhone or smartphone, just please don't do vertical. Black bars on the side, super unprofessional. Although there can be said that there's some value in being very casual, but I always am a big fan of horizontal. But either way,
you need to get text on that as well, don't you?
Yeah, go to rev.com. You can get what's called an SRT file for $1 a minute. So if you have a 5-minute video, it costs you $5, and you upload that with the videos that way. Because when people see videos, especially on Facebook, and they're scrolling through, it auto plays, but there's no sound. And what happens is if they're in line at Circle K, or if they're at their kid's recital, and they're just looking down at their phone, they shouldn't be, but if they are, they can't play it. Right, but they don't want sound. They still want to read it while they watch you on a video. So having the SRT file is going to be a big
does that for you, does it?
Engager for you. Facebook can do it for you, but I don't like it. I like using rev.com, and then I can download the file, visually look at it to make sure it's okay, and then upload it. Find it's a lot more accurate that way.
Let me ask you this like an idiot, because when it comes to technical stuff, that's the realm I'm in.
Sure.
Does that Rev is a freelancer, right?
Oh, sorry. So it's REV. So Ralph Echo Victor.com, and it's a service. So basically, they use overseas. I guess you say VAs or whatever, but they use people overseas to basically listen to your content, video, audio, whatever, transcribe it, put it in the correct file, and send it back. And it usually takes like an hour or two to get the results back, or the transcription back.
But how does that audio? And I may sound like an idiot here, but how does that text then end up on the screen?
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So you're going to take that video, and you can either create the ad in the Ads Manager, or you can create it on your business Facebook page. I'll do the second option here. So let's say you have your Facebook business page, DeWalta, the Rec to Rec Recruiter. You're going to upload the video, and also make sure the video is clean, make sure it looks good, edited correctly. Once you upload the video, you can throw in your description up top, and they'll give you an option to upload an SRT file. So that's Sam Romeo Tango, and it's just a type of file that is a subtitle file. So you get that SRT file from Rev, you upload it to on that video, and now when that video plays, you'll see that bottom subtitles that will appear. But again, you can't just upload a transcription. It has to be specifically an SRT file, and there's a specific type of SRT file for Facebook. But again, Rev can give that to you. So you just tell Rev, okay, I need this file format, and they'll give it to you. You can open up in a text editor, make sure it looks okay from like to make sure that the wording is correct, and then just upload.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
So we've targeted the people. We've set our ad. How do we know do like I've heard you kind of you spend a little bit of money at first seeing if it works, and then you review the results, and if you're starting to get a bit, then you double down on it. Is that right?
Kind of. So yes, but no. Now, if I were running an ad, okay, so let's say I were running an ad to sell blenders, and there's 2 million people in the U.S. I sell blenders to. So I'll target within Facebook people who like blenders, see if this ad converts. I'll do it over. I'll spend a couple $100 and look at my results. If it's working, expand and market it out. The difference here is that we have a very defined market, like 1,000 people, let's say, or 1,000 people. It's not a big market. And my goal isn't to convert. I'm not looking to get somebody to buy a blender right now. I'm looking to brand, build my name value. So for me, I'm going to instead take that 1,000 people, post up my 10 to 12 pieces of content on my Facebook business page, right? And then now, an ads manager, take those 1,000 people. You can create what's called a reach objective ad or campaign, rather, where instead of trying to get a conversion, meaning I'm trying to get someone to buy a thing or download a thing, I'm just saying to Facebook, hey, Facebook, these 1,000 people that are in this audience, I want you to show these ads, and I'm going to pay to make sure that it's just in their newsfeed. So what I'll do is, let's say I've got these 10 to 12 ads, I'll set up, let's say I run this for a 30-day campaign. I'll just say, okay, Facebook, I've got these 12 ads, only show this ad to any individual person once in 30 days and no more. So if they scroll past it, they'll never see it again. So I want to avoid ad fatigue. See the same thing over and over again. It gets annoying. So what I'll do is I'll target these 1,000 people. I'll put these 12 posts up on Facebook, create the ads and target them. I'll set the reach frequency to 1 every 30, and then I just let it run. And from there, I just look at my numbers. And typically what I'll do after a couple of weeks, I'll look at my reaching that 1,000. Usually you'll get about 2/3, because sometimes people just aren't on Facebook. And if they're not on there, there's no real estate to place an ad on, right? Because they're not scrolling their newsfeed. But what I'll do is then I'll take a look at my engagement. What content's engaging, what's not. That's where that little more button I talked about, where they want to look at more of that content, they'll click that, or maybe they click play it on the video, or they let it play. I'll take a look at those numbers and I'll say, okay, of all that content, what's getting the most engagement? My losers I get rid of, and I replace them with other things. And it's a great way just to get that initial contact out there, initial kind of brand recognition. So that's generally the way I would run, and that's what I do. That's how I generally run, like an initial kind of a campaign, just to get the word out about my service, about my name, get some value in front of it. And from a dollars and cents perspective, it's relatively cheap. I mean, you can get, depending upon the audience, 1,000 impressions for anywhere from like $15 to $30, depending on your audience and how many other advertisers are competing for that same real estate.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's us, is it? I think we've covered it, have we?
Oh, there's so much more.
Man, what?
There's more. There's so much more.
I thought I'd know. I thought I just learned it all. What more complexity could we have?
Well, it gets more if you get into the retargeting. That's where it gets kind of complex.
Crack on then.
Sure. I'll cover a little more. I can go on for hours, but I will say but again, from a retargeting perspective. So for example, here's a very, very simple retargeting stack that you can do. Let's say I run these, and let's say I create a new audience. So let's say, hey, Facebook, tell me whoever has interacted with any of these ads, or whoever has watched at least 50% of any of my videos, right? Put in this other bucket, this other smaller audience. And to that audience, run a small CTA ad.
What is CTA?
Hey, just do all the blah, 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 blah. Oh, sorry, call to action. Excuse me. So it's a classic. Everybody always says, anytime you have an email, advertisement always include a call to action. I'm the opposite. I say call to actions maybe 10% of your shit. Because again, people always get ad fatigue if we're leg humping all the time. Hey, book a call, act now, buy now. It's too much, right? We get ad fatigue from that. So that small audience that has interacted with your content, has watched any of your videos, they've shown some interest and intent towards you. I don't like to show CTAs unless they've shown intent. Once they've shown intent, now I'll run a CTA to them, say, hey, this Dualta, maybe a pitch about yourself or what you could do for them. Hey, let me help you. Let's say you don't have a lead magnet, right? You just book a call. You can run a book a call ad. If you have a lead magnet, run that instead possibly, and then try to book a call. But that's like a very simple retargeting stack that you can do within Facebook.
Okay.
It's fairly easy to do, but you can get as complicated as you want. I've got some pretty complicated stacks on my back end. That's just because I enjoy it, and it's kind of a stack. So a retargeting stack is basically
that's your data list, right?
It kind of, yeah. So it's different sequences of ads that you can set up based on their behavior with your other content or on your platform. And so I like to get pretty complicated because it's just fun for me. But you can also do very simple stacks that work just as well. I would say that 80% of your results are going to you'll get from 20% of your efforts. Now I like to go the other 80% because it's fun, but it might squeak me out after 20%, right? So, but just doing a very simple stack will get you 80% of the way of where you need to be.
All right, that is 35 minutes. I was trying to get through this in 10 minutes, mate. What happened? Where did the time go?
Is it my fault?
It's your fault for being too awesome. And I didn't curse deliberately because I just got told off in your Facebook group. You'll enjoy the thread. You'll enjoy the thread in there today.
Yeah, I take a look at that. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of grown to the point where I used to be able to see all the content back when it just had a few hundred members. Now I don't know what's going on in there. It's kind of the land of misfit toys.
Yeah, it's great. You've done a great job. It's one of the premier Facebook groups for recruiters, and you've built it in how long?
Oh gosh, that's maybe a year.
That's amazing.
About a year. Yeah.
Next time you're on, we're going to talk about community building and maybe a couple other things.
Yes. Okay.
That's but
you got it. Looking
forward
to it.
Thanks so much, and we'll catch up during the week, my friend.
You got it, man. All right, Dualta. We'll talk soon.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.